Welcome to the Monday Movie Club. This week I chose Inside Out 2, because I want to keep us current. But there's so it's from 2024. There's not enough information yet to calculate its position on the Franken list. So let's wait for that. Let's earn it. I'm Joy. Motherfucking Joy. Okay. And Schadenfreude, Joel gets joy from the pain of others. Of course, Mark is horny, as usual. And Goldfuck Cringer, how do you say that? Ennui. What did she say in the movie? She couldn't pronounce it at first.
That's why she called him wee wee.
Yeah, wee wee. Yes. All right. Amy is wee and Cringer is wee. So it's wee wee.
Aw.
And Annie King.
Ow.
She's driving around Manhattan to go to Chinatown to get some dim sum. So she's Wanderlust. Also not in the movie. So we're setting up Inside Out 3 with 3 more emotions. Wanderlust, horny, and Schadenfreude. Okay. Frank, why Inside Out 2?
Lord.
I really liked the first movie, and I thought it just came on Disney Plus, so here we are. Although Lori watched Deadpool and Wolverine again last night, because
so did we.
It's also on Disney Plus, and she said you guys need to review it again.
Yeah, it really was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, she said she laughed at things she didn't even know she never saw the first time because she was laughing so hard the first time.
How funny.
Right. So here's the plot. The film tells the story of Riley's emotions as they find themselves joined by new emotions that want to take over Riley's head. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust have been running a successful operation by all accounts, but everything changes when anxiety shows up. Ain't that the truth? So Riley is 13 now, and I thought it was very clever with the hockey game and Joy being the sportscaster announcer, whatever thing she was, reintroducing us to all the characters and moving things forward at the same time. So I thought that was very clever. And then, of course, they added some new layers. The belief system is new, and I thought that was just lovely. The puberty button, that was brilliant. And 2 things made me laugh when she discovered sarcasm, and it was a sarcasm.
Yes.
Nice. That was cute. And then also when the brainstorm happened, that was pretty funny too. So literally taking a brainstorm. But some of it was lost on me. I mean, I don't know who Bluefy, Blade, and Pouchy are. Are they real things?
No.
They're kind of like Dora the Explorer with her backpack.
Yeah, Pouchy.
The backpack.
Yeah.
So Pouchy was kind of the backpack from Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I realize you don't want the film to feel dated, so you wouldn't reference pop culture things like Dora the Explorer. But the knockoff of the character is going to be just as dated because you're just making a knockoff of some character people won't even know even then.
Not necessarily, because since like my kids didn't grow up with, they were born after the Dora the Explorer, craze and kind of started to wane, and they know who that stuff is because there have been other things that have similar things to them.
Right.
To me, Pouchy was just any kind of crazy animated cartoon character.
That's what I took.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of Clippy.
Yes,
from the Microsoft.
Or it even could be like, not that Felix the cat's bag had a name, but it served a similar purpose.
Right. Well, also her being in love with this band that was not a real band. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a huge hit for Disney. The original movie grossed $365 million, $445 adjusted for inflation in the U.S., but Inside Out grossed $653 million in the U.S. and $1 billion more worldwide.
Wow.
So that makes $1.698 million the movie made this year, and that makes Inside Out the number 63 highest grosser of all time in the U.S., adjusted for inflation.
Wow.
I thought it was a worthy and welcome follow-up. Nicely captures the emotional complexities of growing up. A little too long for me. Not as nuanced as the first one. It sometimes tried too hard to be clever. Ends up being very obvious. Ideas are light bulbs. Not really clever. So 3.25 stars for me. The sequel delivers on the heartwarming emotional depth and stunning animation that we've come to expect from Pixar. But it doesn't quite capture the magic of the original for me. It's no Toy Story sequel. I'm sorry. So that's it for me. That's all the notes I took. It was nice. I liked it. All right, Annie, did you? Of course, you saw Inside Out 1 and 2 this week.
Yeah, I've seen Inside Out 1 before, but I watched it again because I don't think Danny saw it. So we watched them both, and I enjoyed them. I think they're really cute, and I think they should just be required viewing for all fifth graders.
Right.
Just to kind of understand what they're going through, and I think fifth grade, 10 years old, is about a good age to understand.
But she was 13.
Yes, but the first one, she was like 11. Going. Yeah. So I think right before, like at 10, you should see what's coming up.
Right. What to expect when you're hormoning.
Yeah. How to handle your emotions. I think it was cute. I thought a lot of it was funny. I know the first one had the train of thought, stream of conscience. So it was cute. Yeah. But I would watch it again. I think it's cute. And, it was funny because I was watching it and I'm like, oh, I know a lot of people who need to see this. Yeah. So 3.5 for me.
3.5. I think, especially right now, too many people have anxiety running their console.
Yeah.
I'm like, calm down, Mary.
And I like that, like, you just have to choose joy.
Yeah, exactly. You do. You're in charge of your own joy.
I loved how somebody said something to the effect of, as you get older, you have less joy, though. And yeah.
Joy gets pushed to the background.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, like, in the end, when, like, she, like, her yellowness was moving to the console, like, Riley chose joy.
Yeah.
You have to choose it.
Yeah. You know what also fades as you get older? Horny.
Speak for yourself.
I'm not.
I was going to say he is not.
I'm fine right now. All right. So, Mark, you watched both of them too?
Yeah, I had seen the first one maybe 5 years ago, and then and Danielle had never seen it, so I convinced her to rewatch it with me last week. And what did I write here? Both of us thought it was a little bit too sad. It was a little bit like Up, which I don't like that much either. I watch movies to escape and to generally feel like Facebook. I treat the same way. Just all the islands, her goofball island and everything that started dying. It was a little bit too much.
Well, that's the thing I felt was missing from this one, that poignancy.
And that's why I like number 2 better. But number 1, and also, holy crap, sadness was annoying constantly, just like Amy on a Saturday night, always trying to touch them balls, all the memory balls. It was a little annoying. It was, don't touch the ball, okay, and then touching the ball right away. That was, I just didn't like sadness. And
that is sadness. It creeps up on you and touches the balls.
It was a little bit much. I liked her much better in number 2. She was funny. It was a much better use of the character, I thought, for me. So for me, I still give number 1 3 stars for cleverness and the heartwarming BS. And overall, it wasn't that bad. But Inside Out 2 for me was much more fun. Even with the high school friend issue, I think, like Annie said, that is something that a lot of kids go through, and that was depicted very well. I thought Maya Hawke was fantastic as anxiety. I already said sadness was very funny. I don't have much else to say. I'm stuck between 3.25 and 3.5, so I'm going to go 3 1/3 star. And Riley's First Date gets a full 3.5 stars. I love that little 8-minute short.
I was gonna get to that, dude.
Well, I already did.
Yeah, so it was very cute.
Yeah.
Especially when it ended on the parents. That was very cute.
Yeah.
All right, Aim. Did you have time to watch both of them?
No, I didn't bother because I had just seen the first one in anticipation of watching this one when it first came out. So I just saw it a few months ago. And I had
long ago?
What?
You remembered it from a couple of months ago?
Kinda. And I had seen the original in the movie, so I loved it.
Yeah, I do love the first one.
Just so clever. And so I have
and some of those things are repeated here in a way.
Yeah.
All of them having to get back, make that journey.
Yeah, and I will agree with you, it was long, and it wasn't a long movie. But there were moments where it was long, and it had, to me, it was the exact same movie kind of as the first one, where at least two of our emotions escape from headquarters, which is so brilliant. I didn't get until yesterday watching this, quarters are where you live, and they live in the head, so it's headquarters. To me, it was just headquarters. So there's so many clever things. But, at least two of the emotions escape, and they have to work their way back. And to me, that was the boring part of one. This time, it was a little more interesting. So it was just a bit much, a bit repetitive. But I had to write down some things that I thought were brilliant for our audience members who haven't seen this. I'm going to spoil some jokes because I fucking loved them. When Joy took sadness, this wasn't a joke, but when Joy took sadness to the belief system, I had such a smile on my face of how beautiful it was. The animation, the music, it was so beautiful. I almost had tears in my eyes. Okay, it was brilliant when one of her friends' emotions yelled, "You spilled the tea." And of course, then she spills the tea. It was adorable. The choice of having ennui as an emotion was brilliant. And I love that she used an app, which of course was an important bit later.
And that she was French.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And the nostalgia emotion, being an old lady.
I would have. Sorry, I wanted to say that if Betty White was still alive, she would have voiced nostalgia. I think
that would have been great.
Yeah.
Bottling up her emotions and then calling them repressed emotions. Actually, brilliant. The animated Bluefy, I thought was fucking brilliant. I loved it. And then the melodramatic video game character, it sounded like he called him Goofy, but I'm not sure. I thought, I don't know. I just thought that was cute. And Frank, I wrote the sarcasm was brilliant. But the way it turned her normal thoughts into what they interpreted as sarcasm. Everything okay?
Are you all right?
Even Cringe was like, what the hell was that?
Are you okay? Did you break something?
Yeah.
Oh, he broke something.
Amy, I looked up the guy who played the video game like Samurai. He actually does voice Final Fantasy and stuff like that. So they got a real game.
I really liked about that.
Right.
And his name was Slashblade.
Yeah.
Was that the way they animated him? He had that crazy, not quite finished video game outline.
Did you see how he moved to get out of the prison too, like a video game?
Yeah. So that was great how they did that. For sure.
And I thought the same thing with Bluefy. All of a sudden, he was drawn, looked like animation versus the Pixar. It looked great.
Yeah.
And again, so the sarcasm was fabulous. Having a literal brainstorm, I thought was great. I was very impressed with the thought of Fear having a parachute, because of course he would. That was great. Anxiety turning into a flashing out of control tornado. I wrote fucking brilliant. And finally, I wrote Kirk Thatcher was credited as the foreman. Kirk Thatcher from Star Trek 4, the punk guy. He's still like doing voice work. I love it.
That's great.
I loved it. And Mark, I think Joel saw when you said you didn't like Up, and I was about to walk out the door.
We already reviewed that one. I said,
I know. I don't remember anybody thinking it was less than 4 stars.
Oh yeah, I gave it like 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I rolled my eyes.
I agree.
And Annie left.
Annie left.
Okay,
there we go.
That was adorable. 5 stars, Annie, for that joke. Anyway, I'm giving this one 3 3/4 stars.
Ooh.
I loved it.
Yeah, loved it. I'm glad you finally found your joy.
Oh yeah.
You have a lot less of it. Okay, Joel.
First of all,
Is there anything inside out there? What are we looking at?
My joy is right here.
Aw.
Actually, it's a whole.
So you said Natasha wasn't home.
Well, yeah, my real joy isn't here, but my plastic.
Good save.
My plastic interpretation of joy is.
She is joy personified. That girl
from the.
Oh, sure.
She is, and yeah, I won't get.
It's a little annoying at times, I'm sure.
No, yes and no, but I'm amazed at how much energy it takes her to keep it up at times outside the house.
Right.
That's what he said.
Yeah. No, inside the house, it's like. I don't know.
No, she will keep it up as much as she can. And this is getting pornographic at this point, but
wow. Are we back to horny?
Yeah, I don't know if everybody heard Amy before.
I heard. That's why I said that. Okay. I heard Amy before. Anyway,
well, let's talk about the movie.
Let's talk about the movie and not my wife.
Natasha divorces you for divulging her.
Oh, that would never happen. Anyway, it's a whole all the characters are right here.
Well, not all of them.
Very cute.
That's phase one, right?
It's the first film because the Disney Infinity video game the kids were playing existed when the first film came out. It's not existent.
Characters, so,
yeah. So anyway, so the first thing I want to say is that with the exception of Cars 2, Pixar doesn't make bad movies. They're all 3 stars and above as far as I'm concerned. It just depends on where in that range they will fall. Second thing I want to say is I miss Herman's Head, which is a TV series.
Yes, I love that one
more than ever because it's a Disney-owned property, or at least it should be, I believe, based on the production companies that they should have put out on Blu-ray or DVD or something at some point to tie into these movies because it's very similar. But anyway, I'm basically going to kind of agree with almost everything everybody said. I'm going to ignore Mark because
I was waiting for that.
Well, I'm not going to ignore everything. I'm going to ignore your comments about Up and the first movie. I like the first movie better because there is the Herman's Head comparison aside, it's a more original piece, whereas this film has that sequel feel like Superman Returns or the Force Awakens, where it's kind of retreading the plot points of the first film. As you said, some of the emotions wind up leaving headquarters for whatever reason. They have to journey back. They wind up working with an old memory cartoon character or imaginary friend in the case of the first film to get back. So, but it's all really well done. It's fun. It's entertaining. It is a little too long. I love the deepness of the concepts. I agree with Annie that kids should see these films to get a better idea of what's coming up for them. Turning Red would also be another Pixar film that I think kids should see at around that same age to give them an idea of where things are going for them. But beyond that, as I said, it's a good movie. I'm gonna Frank, you gave it 3.25, right? Yeah, I'll agree with that one.
So there was also. Are we done? Sorry.
Yeah, I also like the part where Joy said how tough it was to do it all the time, just to be joyful. Then I was like,
I found that too, that there was a lot more blurring of the emotions between them too, right. which happens as you get older as well. It's not so clear cut, just joy.
And that's one of the things I wanted to address with what Mark said about sadness being annoying in the first film. There is the older you get, and as someone who is on antidepressants and has some mental health issues, sadness is ever present, and touching things can easily turn something that is joyful to you into sadness just because.
That's not the issue that I had with it. I understood when she touched things that it started turning sad. Totally understood that, and I liked that part. Okay. I just meant the way in which it was done, where it seemed way too repetitive of don't touch that. Okay. And was
yeah, but it was
immediately.
compulsive.
Yeah, it's you have to be reminded of things like that at times to not fall into the sadness.
It did
Right.
not
So
work.
where
It
in
did
the
not work
first
for me.
movie, the emotions the emotions are very clear cut.
Yeah.
Right. As you get older, they become more complex.
Yeah.
And you learn to control your sadness. And when you're young and you move, or your parents rip you away from where you live to a new house,
right,
a new place, you're going to be a lot more sad than when it happens when you're 40.
Totally makes sense. Totally agree.
Yeah. But you just didn't like it as on a movie level.
I just didn't like the way that it was done in the movie with the constant touching of the memory balls as she's saying, "I'm not going to touching it." It just didn't work for me. That's all.
I love the fact when Joy's dragging her through the memory bank, and you discover that she's literally had her hand out the entire time.
Yes.
That entire lower row of balls have all turned to blue.
Yeah, blue balls.
Balls, yeah.
All right. So then there was a mid-credit sequence and an end credit sequence. The first one was, talking how the weekend go. It was very cute. How she didn't tell them anything. And then the second one, what we find out what the secret was. Both cute. And then Mark did mention that they did do a short called Ripley's First Date, which was also Riley's on.
Ripley's First Date is a coming short that Disney's doing between Ellen Ripley
and Predator. Yeah. Riley's First Date, which was adorable.
It was adorable.
Any comments on any of that?
I couldn't believe it said it was 10 minutes long and it ran just about 4 minutes. And then there was a little mid-credit sequence. Did you see that, Frank? And then 6 minutes of commercial.
Yeah. Credits.
6 minutes of porn?
Credits.
Oh, credit.
Speaking of, I just quickly interject on credits at this point, just because I've watched a lot of movies in the last week, and they're more recent things. And we all complain about the longer credits and stuff. And if you actually sit there and read them, it's like, why are they consistently listing the advertising department that runs everything in every movie, as opposed to, you look back on like Casablanca didn't have Warner Brothers advertising department listed in the credits.
Well, here's a funny story. Who cares? But when I worked at 20th Century Fox, we would do screenings, and then we'd have Academy screenings around, right before, so the people could vote. And Jane Powell lived in Connecticut, and she would come to New York to come to the screenings. And one particular time, the credits are rolling, and she came out and she said, "Can you believe they gave a credit to the Honey Wagon?" I'm like, that's the way it is today. In my day, you didn't sit here for 10 minutes watching credits.
No, everything was at the beginning, and then that was it.
Yeah. But I remember you get programs with all those other people listed at movies. Did you ever remember getting programs?
I feel like only at screenings.
That's the Frank is older than 60 comment.
Boomer.
Get off my lawn. All right. So of course Inside Out 2 is on Disney.
Wait, before we wrap up Inside Out completely, December, sometime in December, the 11th or 12th or something, I believe there is a 4-episode TV series based on the movies dropping called Dream Productions, that is about the people that make the dreams. Remember in the first movie when they're in the classroom with dressed as a dog and stuff, and Paula Pell is the director. They're getting their entire own 4-episode streaming series on Disney Plus in December, and most of the cast, I believe, is returning to voice their
That's
character.
Fun.
Yeah.
Amy Grant.
So did you want to take away a movie to review those?
Me? No, I'm just. It's just informational.
Okay. Next week. What's next week? I don't even know. Oh, Accepted. Annie picked Accepted from 2006, the American Pie of its generation.
And it's accepted, not accepted, correct?
Yeah. You picking on my accent?
Oh, I'm not picking on your accent. I'm letting everybody else out there in
yeah, if you want to watch it, but
you know.
it's not on any of the streaming services. You have to rent it or borrow it from the library. All right, that's it for us. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
I'm also with you.